Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty big things to go over. There's some rumors circulating about Generation 10 regarding Pokedexes and also other bits and bobs about the game. There's also some Nintendo Switch 2 updates to go over, cancelled pre-orders, loads of things like that. There's a lot of things to talk about today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's quickly go over these new Nintendo Switch 2 updates regarding cancelled pre-orders. This is quite bad if you're pre-ordering from Walmart in America. Let's take a look at it though. We've got Nintendo Soup here tweeting out saying, users report Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders getting cancelled at Walmart in the US. So again, this obviously isn't going to affect everybody, but this is something to maybe keep an eye on if you have pre-ordered from Walmart. Make sure that it hasn't been cancelled and stuff like that. So, users report Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders getting cancelled at Walmart in the US. So if you've pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch 2 at Walmart, you'll probably want to keep checking your order status from time to time. That's because multiple users on social media, so it's not just one person that's been very unlucky. It's actually happened to quite a few people that have been posting about it over the last couple of days. But yeah, that's because multiple users on social media have been reporting that their pre-orders were cancelled, and in some cases their account was also deleted. So the issue seems to be mostly affecting the second wave of pre-orders that opened at Walmart. So if you got into the first wave, then it's pretty much you're going to be okay. But in the second wave, this is where the problem is arising. And I assume that's just because they don't have the stock that they thought they were going to have. And so, of course, they don't have enough Switch 2s to go around. It says, while there isn't an official explanation as to what's happening behind the scenes, some suspect that Walmart is using an automated system to cancel orders from scalpers. A few users have also suggested reaching out to Walmart about their cancelled order as they were assured that their pre-order is secure. So this is the kind of image that's popping up. This was on Reddit saying, check your Walmart order status. My account is gone and so is my pre-order status page. So some folks mentioned an issue with Walmart Switch 2 pre-orders last weekend. I tried to log in with no luck, and when using my order number, it also seems to be gone. My deposit money also got returned. So I guess that's it. This is deflating. So obviously it says track your order. If you don't have an account yet, you can still track your order status. We could not find any information related to the email address and order number. So as I say, not going to be affecting everyone, and it seemingly is only affecting people in the second wave of pre-orders from Walmart. But I know that Walmart is a pretty big pre-order kind of juggernaut when it comes to these kind of consoles and stuff. So just kind of check your pre-orders and make sure, because obviously if you don't check it and then it gets to June the 5th and then you're like, where's my Switch 2? And then you go on and it seemingly has been cancelled, you're going to be left without a Nintendo Switch 2. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. Again, it's only going to be affecting people in America, and again, only going to be affecting people in that second wave of pre-orders. But hopefully, if you're watching this, you haven't been affected by it. Moving on, we have some new Nintendo Switch 2 updates to go over regarding the kind of announcement situation and stuff going on for like future games and everything. Got Go Nintendo tweet here posting saying, former Nintendo employees say Nintendo has this year mapped out for the Nintendo Switch 2, but they won't rush announcements. So everything they're going to announce is all completely mapped out when they're going to announce certain games and stuff. So maybe like the 3D Mario and everything like that. All been mapped out. They all know what they're going to do, but obviously they haven't said that they're going to rush announcements and stuff like that. But anyway, slow and steady. So Nintendo knows what's coming down the Switch 2 pipeline for years and years to come. I mean, we literally covered in yesterday's video that the Switch 2 was being worked on 2 years after the Switch 1 came out. So they have a pretty good idea of what they're going to be doing, down the line and stuff when it comes to games and consoles and everything like that. But it says, while we've just learned about some of the titles coming in 2025, Nintendo is deep into development on games that won't come out for years from now. Just don't expect to hear about them anytime soon. So in a recent episode of their podcast, former Nintendo employees Kit Ellis and Krista Yang talked about Nintendo's slate of announcements for the Nintendo Switch 2, making it very clear that 2025 is set in stone, but Nintendo won't be sharing any details on titles until they are 100% ready to do so. I mean, a few things have obviously been postponed, like the console itself, we are pretty sure got postponed from 2024 to 2025. Other things have been postponed as well, like Legend ZA, etc, etc. So they know that what's kind of coming, but obviously if something happens, then they will have to postpone it. But anyway, we had Kit say, we just don't think they're going to rush any major game announcements before it's time. They have at least the rest of this year mapped out in terms of game announcements, and Nintendo Directs and partner stuff and reveals like that. And then Krista said there's no way from a development side they would let the marketing team dictate the timing of announcements before a game is ready. This is very much a company that's driven by the developers, and when they're good and ready to announce something, you work your marketing plan around it. So using that as a lever to market the Nintendo Switch 2 is just non-existent. And then Kit says, if I'm Mr. Koizumi, a Nintendo Senior Executive Officer and General Manager of the Nintendo Switch, and the head of marketing comes to me and says, oh, people are mad about the Switch 2, we better announce the new Mario game, he'd say, well, you better fix that. Let me know when you fix that and we can announce my game. And then Krista said he'd be sipping his coffee and slam the door in your face. So it sounds like positivity about this year in regards to the Nintendo Switch 2, but of course it means that they're not going to just drop everything as soon as it's ready to drop. They're going to, you know, wait a little bit, get people excited about it. We're going to have a couple more Nintendo Directs this year, in my opinion. We're only in May, so maybe the next Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is when the 3D Mario game is going to get revealed, because they're going to need some sort of big game at the end of that Direct to kind of make people very excited. But anyway, wanted to quickly go over that regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. Finishing things off for today's video, we have quite an interesting Generation 10 rumor to go over. You may have seen this collage pop up on the internet on 4chan. It's regarding the Pokedex for Generation 10, but then we also have some more updates regarding this from this person that posted it. So I wanted to quickly go over the collage and then everything that they've said about it as well. Again, this was posted on 4chan, so take it with a massive grain of salt. This is unlikely to be true. We do know that the source code is out there. The Terra Leaker does have the source code for Gaia and Ikaku, being Legend ZA and Generation 10, and they have leaked a couple extra things like the Mega Evolution, story plot, everything like that. But for Generation 10, we haven't really had anything, apart from obviously the fact that it's going to be an archipelago, very likely to be based in Greece, etc, etc. But this collage comes to us and is basically talking about the Pokedex. We've had things like this in the past. This definitely gives me like Riddler Coup vibes, where they just kind of posted loads of different images and that would correlate with that specific Pokemon that's going to be in that game. But anyway, let's quickly take a look at it and then we'll go over the information that they kind of posted along with it. So we have a jellyfish here in the top left, which seems to be like an onion or something. And then we have an onion as well, which seems to be on another kind of aquatic creature. I think that might be an octopus or something or whatever. But we have like some onion fish Pokemon. We have I think that's an octopus with a pineapple. Definitely looks like a kraken kind of thing. And they've got a pineapple on their head. Again, don't know if it's going to be a regional form or whatever. We have a goat. We then have a goat with fire. And then we have, I think that's a Minotaur with fire. So that would be like a 3-stage evolution. Potentially, these could be the starters, in fact, actually, now that I think about it. So the water starter would be some sort of octopus with an onion and then a pineapple. The fire starter would be a goat that turns into a Minotaur. And then the water starter, this is like a baby underwater. And then, I don't know what this is, some sort of person with something on their head. I don't know what that is. And then the Chinese flag, and then is that Komodo dragon or something? I don't really know. I think that's actually some sort of mythical creature. So some sort of Chinese mythical creature that is going to be some sort of relevance to a water type. And then we also have this as well. I don't know if this is all the same kind of Pokemon or not, but I guess it would. This would. I don't know what this is. It's got some sort of like scuba gear on or whatever. And then we have Wurmple with some horns, and then we have this sort of like bushy kind of creature with some horns, and then we have this moth or butterfly with some horns. We then have a baby bird with an egg, and then we have, what's that, like a sparrow or something? And then we have a Lightning McQueen, Kachow over here with a bird. So that's like some regional birds and regional bugs or whatever. We then have a plant pop. I won't quickly go over I won't go over it in like great detail like that, but obviously the starters are quite interesting. So we have a plant pot there, we have a bigger plant pot, and then we have some sort of creature here, and then I don't know what that is, some sort of like sand in a sack or rice or whatever. No idea what that is. No idea what that is. And then some more fishes, and then fish with a stop sign, and then you have a big old paddle with traffic lights on. You have a crab. We then have, I don't know, that is a bat or a rodent or something. We then have a blue Steelix. Don't know what that is, but it's got some sort of weird eye. And then we have a person there. We have Honchkrow. Again, you can kind of get the idea. It's just loads of like kind of, I guess, hints to what these Pokemon are going to be. We have an acorn there. We have a dolphin that's fast asleep. We have the Ocarina of Time that's also a dolphin. We've got a whale. We've got some fan art there. We got some Tanglers. We got Eevee there, so that could be like a new evolution. We have Wormadam in dresses, Burmy and a Sawaddle. We have Heliolisk. We have some other kind of creatures with horns and whatever. We have some more of these stones with eyes. We have some more fishes. Again, there's probably going to be quite a few water types in this game if it is an archipelago of islands. We've got a finish line there. We have a sort of rocket fish. We have a narwhal, which again, I don't know how we don't have a narwhal Pokemon yet. We've got a shaman there. We've got, I think that's a watermelon on a magic carpet. And then we have, I think that's Wailord, that's a watermelon. Then we have some more water kind of creatures. We got a boat there. We got a shark that's a boat. Dracozolt there. We got some bugs. We've got Monsters Inc. Don't know what they're doing there. We've got the dog. We're saying this is fine in the fire. We've got Manaphy and Fion that are green. We've got 300. We have the Hercules women. Again, that's obviously some sort of Greek god. We have Melmetal there. We have the original kind of Ditto pre-evolution from Gold and Silver with Mewtwo's armor form. We then have Glalie that's sweating. We have a kind of a fat Picky Peck. We have Tangela, Oddish underwater, Cutiefly with wings. We have the Aron line, the Golem line. We have Gyarados and Milotic as well. So that's kind of Pokedex leaks according to this person. Doesn't really give a lot of information away. I assume this bottom row is regional forms and everything like that. But anyway, this might make a little bit more sense. This is the person that posted the collage with some more information about it. So the starter Pokemon are the ones that you see in the Pokedex, but for the God forms, so the God forms, I assume is what Moot is obviously been talking about. They are what I called peak state Pokemon. So while the more general mechanic was what I called rising Pokemon. So we know that from what Moot has said that some Pokemon are gonna, all Pokemon are going to be able to use this gimmick where they like pray or something and then they get stronger. So the more general kind of version of that mechanic is the rising Pokemon, but the certain Pokemon that pray and then get a new form and everything, and it's a little bit like Mega Evolution, they're calling those the peak state Pokemon. So back then, the difference between rising and peak depended on the evolution stage of that Pokemon, but apparently the direction is a simplification of this, and it is a stat boost that depends on the item and the god, rather than the Pokemon species. Again, we know that they have to have some sort of held item to be able to use this gimmick. To summarize it, so before, this seemingly has been changed. So before, rising Pokemon, not fully evolved Pokemon who got a stat boost to match and surpass their evolved form. So it'd be something like, I don't know, Herdia getting this boost, which would then make it stronger than Stoutland. And then peak Pokemon, fully evolved Pokemon getting a stat increase for less time than the rising ones. And then peak forms, a comprehensive group that would have included Mega Evolutions and, I don't know if that's Gigantamax. It regarded stat boost with other effects like type and ability changes. But now, there's no difference between rising and peak Pokemon. Simplified stat change. Such stat change varies depending on the god Pokemon. It's a permanent, for the battle of course, buff. Roughly equal to a +3 total boost, but different gods give different boosts. So you can have a +3, a +2, a +2, a +1, all across the stats. So like an Omni boost, and even +4, -1. So that is kind of the extent of how busted this gimmick is. You use this gimmick and you can get up to like a +3 in one stat, +2 in another. So it basically gives you like, you know when you use like Silverwind or Ancient Power and you kind of get the boosts on all of your attacks or all of your stats. It's a little bit like that, but they would kind of alternate. So you maybe get like +4 in one, +1 in another, stuff like that. So it's a really broken gimmick by the sounds of it. The gods are not Pokemon and were never in the Pokedex. Their hosts, their avatars should be a derivation of the muses who were more like the original idea. So that's one update, and then we have this as well where they go into a little bit more detail. So I can tell you that the art direction will be closer to Pokemon Legends Arceus, LPA Legends Arceus, I think, which I personally like. As for waifus and husbands or whatever, that's subjective. I can tell you that the marine setting helps in certain regards, especially of you like muscular people, so something to do with the characters and that. Man, I should check myself what I did post. I'll summarize what I can here. So the Generation 10 Pokedex, it's the one in the picture. There aren't any forms in it. There are all new Pokemon, regional forms or convergent forms. The one I posted though was the provisional dex. When I was informed, I know for a fact that, for example, the air and water Regis were being discussed as probably being moved to the DLC. So that's two things apparently. We're getting a water Reggie and a flying type Reggie. The Generation 10 setting, for I know it was inspired by Greek or Roman myths and aesthetic. It's not Greece in its entirety, or at least not yet. It's a portion of it, saving the mainland and Crete for DLCs. Then it says, the plot, summarized, the general plot has you carrying around the third / actually fourth legendary to reach its own peak. But you are tricked into taking care of it. You don't actually know it's a legendary when you receive the Pokemon, which resembles and is an evolution of a very old Pokemon. You'll go around thanks to it and its ability to adapt and change to explore different types of terrain. There are other means of transport like specific Pokemon. Then it says mechanics is peak / rising, which I briefly described in another comment. If you have specific questions, I can answer them with the knowledge I have now. Not that I know, but I haven't seen it suggested as a name around. Now I guess it could have been changed precisely because of the Terra League, just to be sure. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of what they've been talking about here. So only new Pokemon in this sort of collage here. And as well as that, for the setting, it's inspired by Greek, Roman myths, etc., like what we were expecting. And the plot is we're carrying around this legendary that we don't know is a legendary. We get tricked into taking care of this legendary, and then that allows us to get around. And then I assume it's very similar to kind of like a Koraidon situation, but it's a little bit like Lily with Ultra Moon, where she carries Cosmog around, then it evolves. A little bit like that, but we're taking care of it this time. And then, of course, they're saying the mechanics are, peak rising, which is very, very similar to what Moot said. So, again, you can choose to believe it if you want. It's been getting a bit of traction online because these collage images are quite fun because they're not out-and-out leaks, but they give us an idea of what we can expect. But, yeah, the starters are in there, Reggie's, New Evolution, etc. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think this is true or not? Again, going to need a lot more information for me to believe this. Right now, it's just some random 4chan post. But let me know your thoughts on it. And then also let me know your thoughts on the Switch 2 stuff. When do you think the next Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is going to be? And then hopefully your order has not been cancelled. But I wanted to include this in today's video just in case it has. So you can go check it. And then if it has been cancelled, you can go make amends and go buy it from somewhere else and hopefully get it. But anyway, that's everything from me. If you enjoyed, drop a like. Let's try and hit 500. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.